Nomads of the steppes, early Turks and the Göktürk legacy. The vast Central Asian steppes were the crucible from which the Turkic peoples emerged. Around 2000 BCE, these nomadic tribes roamed the grasslands, their lives intertwined with the rhythms of horses and herding. Their mastery of horsemanship and their warrior culture would become defining characteristics. These early Turks were not a unified force but rather a collection of tribes, bound by common linguistic roots and a shared way of life. Centuries passed, and from these nomadic roots the first true Turkic state arose, the Göktürk Empire. Emerging in the 6th century CE, the Göktürks under rulers like Buman Kaghan forged a powerful khaganate. Their dominion stretched across Central Asia, from the Altai Mountains to the Black Sea. The Göktürks' impact was profound. They established a model of Turkic statehood, a template for later empires to follow. Their legacy was not just one of conquest. The Göktürks also fostered trade along the Silk Road. They connected east and west, facilitating the flow of goods and ideas. Their rule, however, was not to last. Internal strife and external pressures led to the Göktürk Khaganate's fragmentation in the early 7th century. Yet even in fragmentation, the Turkic world continued to expand. Westward-bound migration and the spread of Turkic cultures. The collapse of the Göktürk Khaganate did not signal the end of Turkic expansion. Instead, it ushered in a new era, one of migration and cultural diffusion. Driven by a complex interplay of factors, Turkic tribes began to move westward. Climate change, with its attendant pressures on nomadic life, played a role. So too did political upheavals and the constant quest for new pastures and resources. The Turkic migrations were not a single event but rather a centuries-long process. Tribes pushed westward in waves, interacting with existing populations and reshaping the cultural and demographic landscape. They moved into Persia, Anatolia, and even into Europe itself. Some groups settled and assimilated, while others maintained their nomadic traditions. This westward movement had a profound impact on the regions the Turks entered. They brought with them their languages, their cultural practices, and their martial traditions. In many places they integrated with existing societies, contributing to the development of new hybrid cultures. The Seljuk Turks, who would rise to prominence in the 11th century, were themselves a product of this westward migration. The Seljuk surged, conquering Persia and challenging Byzantium. As the 11th century dawned, a new power emerged from the heart of the Islamic world, the Seljuk Turks. Descended from Oghuz Turkic groups who had migrated into Persia, the Seljuks rapidly rose to prominence. Under the leadership of Tugril Beg, they embarked on a series of conquests that would reshape the political map of the Middle East. Baghdad, the jewel of the Abbasid Caliphate, fell to Tugril Beg in 1055. This victory was more than a military triumph. It marked the Seljuks' arrival as a major force in the Islamic world. The Seljuks saw themselves as protectors of the Abbasid Caliphate. They assumed the mantle of defending the Islamic heartland from internal and external threats. Their rise coincided with a period of weakness in the Byzantine Empire, the eastern bastion of Christendom. The Seljuks, emboldened by their successes in Persia, began to make inroads into Anatolia, the Byzantine heartland. A fateful clash was on the horizon, one that would have seismic consequences for both the Byzantine and Seljuk worlds. Manzikirt's shadow, the decline of Byzantine power and the rise of Anatolian Turks. The year 1071 witnessed a battle that would reverberate through history. At Manzikirt, near Lake Van in eastern Anatolia, the Seljuk Sultan Alp Arslan faced off against the Byzantine Emperor Romanos IV Diogenes. The clash was a disaster for the Byzantines. Romanos was captured, his army routed. Manzikirt was not just a military defeat, it was a turning point. The battle shattered Byzantine prestige and opened the floodgates to Turkish migration into Anatolia. In the aftermath of Manzikirt, Turkish tribes, many of them Oghuz, streamed across the Anatolian plateau. They established small emirates, the seeds of what would become a lasting Turkish presence in Anatolia. The Byzantine Empire, weakened and on the defensive, was unable to stem the Turkish tide. The Seljuks, for their part, had secured a foothold in Anatolia, a land that would become central to their identity and legacy. Manzikirt marked the beginning of the end for Byzantine dominance in Anatolia, and set the stage for the rise of new Turkish powers. The Seljuk conquests were not simply a matter of military and political upheaval. They also ushered in a period of intense cultural exchange and transformation. The Seljuks, though of Turkic origin, found themselves ruling over a predominantly Persianate world. Rather than resisting this cultural milieu, they embraced it. Persian became the language of administration and high culture in the Seljuk court. It influenced Seljuk art, architecture, and literature. The Seljuks became patrons of Persian scholars and artists, fostering a vibrant cultural synthesis. This fusion of Turkic and Persian traditions is evident in the magnificent mosques, madrasas, and caravanserais built during the Seljuk era. This cultural blossoming was not one-sided. The Turks also brought their own traditions and sensibilities to the mix. Their nomadic heritage, with its emphasis on horsemanship and martial prowess, left its mark on Seljuk art and literature. The Seljuk period witnessed the emergence of a unique artistic and cultural blend, one that drew on both Turkic and Persian elements. Timur's Tempest, a conqueror's rise, and the splendor of Samarkand. As the 14th century dawned, a new conqueror emerged from the steppes of Central Asia. Timur, better known to history as Tamerlane. Born in 1336 near Samarkand, Timur claimed descent from Genghis Khan, and harbored ambitions as vast as the Mongol Empire itself. His life was dedicated to conquest, and his reign was marked by a mixture of military brilliance and unparalleled brutality. From his base in Transoxiana, Timur launched a series of campaigns that would shake the known world. He carved a path of destruction across Persia, crushing rivals and laying waste to cities. He clashed with the Golden Horde in the north, expanding his dominion across the steppes. He even turned his attention to India, sacking Delhi in 1398 in a display of shocking violence. Timur's reign was a paradox. He was a ruthless conqueror, responsible for the deaths of millions. Yet he was also a patron of the arts and sciences. He made Samarkand, his capital, into one of the most splendid cities in the world. Under his patronage, architects, artists, and scholars flocked to Samarkand, transforming it into a beacon of learning and culture amidst the turmoil of Timur's conquests. Legacy of Tamerlane architectural wonders and the Timurid influence. Timur's empire, though vast, proved ephemeral. It fractured shortly after his death in 1405, riven by internal rivalries. Yet, the Timurid legacy, particularly in the realm of culture and architecture, proved far more enduring. Timur's patronage had a transformative effect on Samarkand, his capital city. He envisioned Samarkand as a rival to the great capitals of the world, and he spared no expense in realizing his vision. The Registan, the heart of Samarkand, became a testament to Timurid architectural grandeur. Flanked by three magnificent madrasas, the Ulugh Beg Madrasa, the Sherdor Madrasa, and the Tilya Kori Madrasa, the Registan stands as a masterpiece of Islamic architecture. Its soaring minarets, intricate tile work, and harmonious proportions continue to captivate visitors centuries later. Beyond Samarkand, the Timurid artistic influence extended far and wide. Timur's descendants, particularly his grandson Ulugh Beg, continued his legacy of patronage. They supported scholars, artists, and artisans, fostering a cultural flowering that left its mark on Persia, Central Asia, and even parts of India. The Timurid period witnessed significant advancements in astronomy, mathematics, and literature, a testament to the enduring power of cultural patronage. Osman's legacy, the rise of a dynasty, and the birth of an empire. While Timur's star rose and fell in the east, a new power was taking shape in the Anatolian heartland. In the late 13th century, as the Seljuk Sultanate of Rum crumbled, a Turkish tribal leader named Osman rose to prominence. Little is known for certain about Osman's early life, but legend paints him as a charismatic warrior, destined for greatness. Osman united Turkish tribes in the region around Seljuk, laying the foundation for what would become the Ottoman Empire. The Ottomans, named after their founder, were initially a small player in a fragmented Anatolia, yet they possessed advantages that would propel them to greatness. They were skilled warriors, strategically located, and most importantly, they had an uncanny ability to adapt and expand. Osman's early conquests were modest, targeting small Byzantine towns and fortresses. But they were significant nonetheless. They provided the nascent Ottoman state with land, resources, and, crucially, a sense of momentum. Osman's reign marked the beginning of a dynasty and an empire that would endure for over 6 centuries, leaving an indelible mark on history. From Anatolia to global power, the Ottoman Empire's rise and enduring legacy. From their humble beginnings in Anatolia, the Ottomans embarked on an extraordinary journey. Over the next 3 centuries, they transformed themselves from a small frontier principality into a vast multi-ethnic empire. They achieved this through a combination of military prowess, strategic alliances, and administrative acumen. Their expansion was relentless, fueled by a potent mix of ambition and opportunity. The conquest of Constantinople in 1453 by Mehmed II, known as the Conqueror, marked a watershed moment. The ancient city, the last vestige of the Roman Empire, fell to the Ottoman onslaught. Renamed Istanbul, it became the Ottoman capital and a symbol of their imperial might. The Ottomans continued their expansion under a succession of capable sultans. Suleiman the Magnificent, who ruled from 1520 to 1566, presided over the empire's golden age. His reign witnessed the zenith of Ottoman power and influence. Suleiman's armies pushed deep into Europe, reaching the gates of Vienna. He consolidated Ottoman rule in the Middle East and North Africa, establishing a vast empire that straddled 3 continents. The Ottoman Empire's legacy is complex and multifaceted. They were, for centuries, a formidable military power, shaping the geopolitical landscape of the Mediterranean and the Middle East. They were patrons of art, architecture, and learning, leaving behind a rich cultural heritage. Their empire, though ultimately swept away by the tides of history, continues to fascinate and inspire, a testament to the enduring power of human ambition and the enduring allure of empire.